In this video, excuse me. Oh, god damn, those Tesla QTs taste good. Tesla has absolutely crushed their Q4 production and delivery numbers, blowing away everyone's expectations. Even mine. Yeah, that's right. The deluded Tesla fanboy on YouTube is way too bullish. They even beat my expectations. So in this video, we'll talk about Tesla's record-breaking quarter. I have an urgent warning to Tesla stock investors. I'll talk about how this will impact Tesla stock in the short and medium term, what to expect in the mainstream finance media and from the Wall Street stock analysts, what impact this record-crushing delivery number will have on Tesla's upcoming earnings, and stick around to the end because I have a very fun exercise. So let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. So here we have it, folks. Tesla's Q4 2021 vehicle production and deliveries. Total production 305,840 vehicles, deliveries 308,600 vehicles. An absolutely monstrous quarter, blowing away everyone's expectations. Wall Street consensus estimates weren't even at 270,000 vehicles delivered in Q4. A huge beat from Tesla. Monstrous, colossal, gigantic. This result is almost as big as your girlfriend. Almost. And for the full year 2021, total production of over 930,000 vehicles and deliveries of over 936,000. Absolutely insane. If we extrapolate Tesla's Q4 production, this puts Tesla at an annualized rate of about 1.25 million units, which is basically the same number that the morons on Wall Street are currently expecting Tesla to deliver in the entire year in 22. AKA, they're assuming that none of the factories that already exist will ramp production further. Oh, and that Austin and Berlin won't contribute any volume whatsoever in the full year. Embarrassing. We'll talk more about this in a moment, so stick around. For further context, in 2021, Tesla's vehicle production and deliveries increased more than 80% over 2020. Absolutely stunning. 2020, Tesla delivered just under 500,000 vehicles, produced just over 500,000. 2021, almost at 1 million. And if you guys and girls will recall, Tesla has consistently been guiding on their earnings call to exceed production growth year over year 50% for a long period of time. Of course, this is far too much to handle for most of the brain-dead analysts on Wall Street who just can't compute. Why don't you tell us an exact number, Tesla? They don't understand that Tesla's a big picture company, that it's going to be an exponential ramp of production. It doesn't really matter if it falls into this quarter or that quarter. The same overall curve, exponential growth in production, is what Tesla's aiming for. This, I believe, is also why many of the smart analysts on Wall Street today are massively underestimating Tesla's 2022 deliveries, because they're thinking, oh, they'll deliver 900,000? What's 900,000 plus 50%? Oh, okay, it's about 1.3 million. I don't need to think about the factories individually, because I just add 50% to the deliveries. I'm smart. Of course, these estimates will not age well, and the reason that I continue to ridicule these analysts publicly isn't because I have anything personal against them. It's just that they're incompetent. They don't know what the f they're doing. It's not that hard to figure out where Tesla's at today and extrapolate into the future, but they want a number from Tesla. They just want to use Tesla's own exact guidance. Tell us a number, Tesla. Don't give us a percent. Don't say over 50%. That's unfair. How did we know it was going to be 80%? You said over 50. Why don't you just tell us a number, Tesla? Much like Elon Musk doesn't fit into the CEO template and conform to expectations, nor does Tesla as a corporation. So here are Tesla deliveries since the company IPO'd, not including the original Roadster, which was an extremely low volume vehicle. So this is X, X3, and Y over the last decade. If you're a number nerd, take a moment, pause, and let these sink in. Most people are more visual, so let's have a look at Tesla's deliveries since 2012, courtesy of Hypercharts. We can see here 2012 deliveries, a spec. Same with 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And obviously we have an enormous takeoff. Now, what's the key difference between 2020 and 21? What happened here? Well, that would be Shanghai. Tesla continued to extract additional volume from Fremont, sure. But the successful ramp of the Shanghai factory is what has allowed Tesla to massively increase their annual deliveries between 2020 and 2021. Guess what happens in 22? Maybe you've heard. Austin plus Berlin, 2 new factories being built at the same time, beginning deliveries Q1 2022. Oh, and by the way, their final capacity far in excess of Shanghai. Now, if you're familiar with exponential growth, you might notice something here. We have an exponential curve here. This is not linear increases in production capacity. This is what exponential growth looks like. This is very important to understand. This is something that most investors don't seem to get, many of the skeptics don't seem to get, and very few Wall Street analysts get. In fact, the consensus estimates for Tesla deliveries in 2025 from Wall Street at this point in time are around 2.5 million vehicles. You literally need to be brain dead to be thinking 2.5 million is a reasonable estimate for Tesla in the middle of this decade because exponential growth. I feel like I should stop ripping on these Muppets so much, but incompetence really triggers me if you haven't figured it out. So, see this number on screen right now? 931,594. This is a sell from my Tesla valuation model, which has been available exclusively on Patreon for months. If you're not already signed up, hit the card in the corner, check the link in the pinned comment, sign up, you'll gain access if you're at the investor support level and above. This valuation model is what produces my Tesla price targets all the way out to 2031, and those are available to all Patreon supporters at all levels. So again, if you're not already signed up, you are missing out. Hit the link in the pinned comment. This is what I was expecting Tesla to deliver in the full year of 2021. As I mentioned in the intro, Tesla even beating my own expectations, but not by that much, about 0.5%. Now, some may think that I'm bragging, others that I'm just keeping myself accountable. Both of those are accurate, but here's the real reason that I keep hammering these numbers home. It's to discredit the morons on Wall Street. They are so incredibly wrong with their 2022 delivery estimates for Tesla, and this presents an enormous opportunity. So before we discuss the impact of Tesla's incredible, stunning, blowout Q4 production and delivery numbers on Tesla's Q4 earnings, stay tuned for that in around 3 weeks' time. Let's first discuss the potential impact on Tesla stock. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is where the urgent warning comes into play. Let me explain exactly what happens from here. Monday, when the market opens, a few hours after this video is posted, headlines everywhere. Tesla beats expectations on delivery. The mainstream finance media go fucking bananas. Even the mentally ill, deluded Tesla short sellers won't be able to argue that this was a huge quarter. It's going to be everywhere. This has blown Wall Street expectations away. Tesla beat by almost 15%. This is unheard of. Headlines everywhere. Tesla crushes earnings, blows expectations, blowout quarter, blah, 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 blah. You can count on it. I'm even willing to go out on a limb here and do something incredibly moronic and predict exactly what's going to happen to Tesla stock when the market opens in a few hours' time, or has already happened if you're watching this video a little bit later in the day. Tesla stock up massively in pre-market, unless of course somebody's dumping shares. I can't foresee the future, so I don't know for sure. But when the market opens, Tesla stock to the moon, closes up on the day unless there is an unforeseen disaster or two, or an absolute whale dumping stock. Of course, this isn't investment advice, and gambling on short-term movements on stocks are what morons do, so if you're a moron, go for your life, but I personally just happy to be long. That's my expectation. Tesla stock has an immediate, enormous positive reaction. In short, Tesla stock to the moon. Next, the Wall Street analysts, you know, the folks who don't know what the fuck they're doing, will scramble and go, hang on a minute, no, that was, hang on, I'm good, 1 + 1 equals, 2. Oh, I better update my delivery estimates. Or, wait, if I update them, I have to update my earnings estimates. But if I update my earnings estimates, maybe I need to update my Tesla price target. And over the next few days and weeks, we're going to see an enormous number of analysts increasing their estimates for Tesla earnings and deliveries for the full year 22 and for the first quarter of the year. Many of them will also be updating their price targets. Every time this happens, all other things being equal, this should have an enormously positive impact on Tesla stock. In the next few weeks in the lead up to Tesla's Q4 earnings results, there will be a tsunami of analyst upgrades, one after the other, a frantic increase in price targets, in earnings estimates, and in delivery estimates. If you can't read between the lines here, this is the urgent warning to Tesla stock investors part. That gap between where we're at today and all the analysts increasing their estimates starts with op and ends in opportunity. Get it? Good. But this is just the beginning. This huge blowout in terms of Tesla deliveries is going to result in a huge blowout in terms of, wait for it, ready, Tesla earnings. Record revenue, record profitability, record cash on hand, record gross automotive margins. I could go on and on and on. All the stuff that the Wall Street analysts bust the nut over is going to be a record, and one way above where they were expecting, even in their best case scenarios. We're really starting to see Tesla's operating leverage come into play. For those of you that aren't super nerds, let me explain really simply. Tesla has a lot of fixed costs that don't increase at all if they make more vehicles, meaning those costs are divided over a larger number of vehicles, meaning each vehicle is made more profitably. On top of this, many of the price increases throughout 2021 have started to roll into product sales. There's a bit of a delay because of the wait times. And the final piece of the puzzle here, even though some of Tesla's expenses do increase as they increase their production, there isn't a linear relationship. To boil this down in fairly simple terms, a linear increase in Tesla's production causes an exponential increase in their profitability. Wall Street still hasn't quite figured this out yet. So to continue with these predictions, all of which will be right, keep me accountable, Tesla's Q4 results will blow everyone away. I mean, everyone away. This will, of course, cause all of the Wall Street stock analysts to once again go back to their sell D39 and go, hang on a minute, oh wow, that was way more than I was expecting. I better increase my earnings estimates again. Guess what happens? Earnings estimates increase. So not only in the weeks leading up to Tesla's earnings do we see a wave of earnings increases, delivery estimate increases, etc. The same thing is going to happen in the wake of Tesla's Q4 earnings because no one on Wall Street understands how fucking good their Q4 results are going to be. They should. They're fairly smart folks, but in this case, I think they're a little bit too smart for their own good. No one's ever done anything like this before. Not possible. I'm not even going to consider it. This won't age well. So following Tesla's stunning blowout Q4 earnings result, more analyst upgrades, more analyst price target increases, and yes, what do you think happens to Tesla stock? Well, if I had a crystal ball, which I definitely don't, I would personally suggest that this might put a little bit of gentle upward pressure on the Tesla stock price. Again, going back to the urgent warning to Tesla stock investors. Given the fact that Tesla stock has been absolutely crushed by Elon Musk's sales on the open market, which are now done, and given the fact that Wall Street are going to be blown away by Tesla's results and there's going to be a wave of price target upgrades and earnings upgrades following their Q4 results, I definitely wouldn't be, let's say, waiting to buy the dip. But if you are, good luck. Just to be super clear, currently, as I record this, the consensus estimates from all the really smart analysts on Wall Street for how many vehicles Tesla would deliver in the full year 2022 is less than 1.3 million vehicles. My bear case for 22 is 1.526 million units. About 225,000 units above, about 17% above where Wall Street's at in my worst case scenario. Of course, I could be wrong and Wall Street could be right and God could exist. My base case, which I have assigned a 50% probability, is about 1.6 million vehicles delivered in 2022. And if things go really well, could be as high as 1.775 million vehicles delivered. I actually have a 45% probability for my bull case here. This isn't an extremely unlikely upside scenario in my opinion. It's just if things go fairly smoothly. The assumptions here are really simple. 600,000 units out of Fremont, 825,000 out of Shanghai, and just for the record, that would require approximately 70,000 vehicles per month coming out of Shanghai. They're already around that number, and keep in mind this factory continues to ramp. And then we've got Berlin and Austin each contributing 175,000 vehicles. Shanghai did 150,000 in its first year. If things ramp just a tiny bit smoother than Shanghai did, these are definitely achievable numbers. The point that I'm getting at here, once again, to really drive home, is Wall Street are so far off the mark, it is shameful. If I were an analyst on Wall Street today and I was predicting that Tesla was delivering anything short of 1.5 million units next year, I would resign in disgrace. Actually, who am I kidding? These analysts get paid really well even if they're completely wrong. And just a reminder, the production estimates we've seen here, the bear case, base case, and the bull case, which run all the way out to 2031, are part of my Tesla valuation model available exclusively on Patreon for supporters at the investor tier and above. So hit the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment if you'd like to gain access. This valuation model is what produces my price targets, which are available to all Patreon supporters at all levels. And at this point in time, there is such a colossal disparity between where Wall Street is at and where I'm at, that I would once again obnoxiously, arrogantly, abrasively, and accurately like to remind everybody watching that my estimates, even out 10 years, are going to be far closer than anyone on Wall Street. I just had a great idea. I'm going to record 2 time capsule videos. I'm going to go through all of my Tesla production estimates over the next decade, bear case, base case, and bull case out to 2031. I'm going to record these videos now. I'm going to set one to publish in 5 years, halfway through the decade, and another to publish in 10 years' time. Even though my estimates will be adjusted along the way because there'll be new information of a much clearer idea, I'm still willing to put it all on the line and prove today that I had a much clearer idea of where Tesla would be than anyone on Wall Street did. I'll also compare this to the Wall Street consensus estimate, so we're comparing apples to apples. And I guarantee you, the video that I record today, based on my estimates in early 2022, will be far closer to the mark than the Wall Street consensus was. And even my estimates for 2031 production will be closer than anyone was. I don't think anyone on Wall Street is even predicting out that far. But when they start predicting, this video will drop and it will be 10 years old, and I'll be closer than they were when they started estimating out to 2031. And now, as promised, a fun little exercise for everyone who owns Tesla stock. This tweet came across my feed today and I thought it was a very interesting way of thinking about our ownership stake in Tesla. Jason DeBolt tweeting, "I owned about 8 minutes of Tesla production in 2021. That's my ownership stake in Tesla. What's yours?" So how do we figure this out? I'll run through the exercise, you can play along at home. First of all, we need to work out how many minutes there are in a year. Pretty simple. Next, we need to know the total number of Tesla shares in existence. Last I checked, this was 1.133 billion shares. If anyone has a more recent figure, let me know in the comments below. I don't track this every millisecond. The next step is to figure out your percentage ownership stake in Tesla, and that's quite easy to do as well. To keep things nice and simple, we're just going to use an online percentage calculator. This will just streamline things a little bit. So first of all, we need to put in the 1.133 billion total outstanding shares of Tesla stock here. The next thing to do to work out your stake in Tesla is to put the number of Tesla shares you personally own. For me, 6,381 shares. That works out to be 0.00056 blah blah % of the company. So now we can take that percent, whatever our ownership stake is in Tesla, put it up the top here, then take the number of minutes in a year, put that in, and we can see here that my share of Tesla's production in terms of minutes in 2021 was approximately 2.96 minutes. Let's just round it up to 3 minutes of total production. A different way to think about this, instead of how many minutes of Tesla's production did I own this year, was how many of the vehicles Tesla actually produced this year belong to me. Again, using that same ownership stake, 0.0056, use your own, and Tesla's total production for the year, 930,422 vehicles, means that 5.25, let's just round it down, say 5 of the vehicles Tesla produced in 2021 are, quote, mine. Obviously, things get far more interesting if we extrapolate out into the future. Let's just say at some point in time, Tesla reaches their target of 20 million vehicles per year. Doesn't really matter when this happens. Is it 2027, 8, 9, 30, 31, 32, 33? Who cares? Who cares? Let's put in 20 million. Work out what would be my ownership percentage of the vehicles produced at that point in time when Tesla's producing 20 million vehicles in a single year. About 112 vehicles. Let's round that down to 100. And now finally, some ballpark numbers here. Based on that production, my share of Tesla's 20 million units produced in the future, let's call it 2030, roughly 100 vehicles. Let's just say that approximately $10,000 worth of profit is associated with each of those vehicles. To be honest, it's probably going to be considerably more than this. You've got software, full self-driving, robotaxi revenue, blah, 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 blah. Plus, you've actually got the profit margins on the vehicles themselves being sold, the hardware, but nice round numbers. Let's see where this ends up. Approximately $1 million of profit associated with my tiny share of Tesla's total production at some point in the future. And this is per year. Now, that may sound like a lot of money, and certainly is, but here's the really interesting thing. The total amount of capital that I've invested to accumulate my position in Tesla stock so far, my 6,000 or so shares, is about 1.2 million US dollars. In other words, the profits being generated by my tiny ownership stake in Tesla will be about the same as the total amount of money I put into owning those shares in the first place. About a 100% return on my capital every year in about 10 years time. This to me sounds like the bargain of the fucking century. Now, I don't expect Tesla to be paying out 100% of their profits, but in theory, let's just imagine that they're paying out 25% of their profits. It would only take a few years to return my entire investment, never mind the appreciation on the stock. This is a fun and interesting way to think about your ownership stake in Tesla. So take the time, go through the exercise, figure out what is my ownership stake in Tesla, how many minutes of their annual production do I own, or another way, when they start producing 20 million vehicles per year, how many of those vehicles are mine? Is it half a vehicle, a quarter of a vehicle, 2 vehicles, 8 vehicles, 10, 1,000 vehicles? And then think about the potential profit associated with each of those vehicles sold. And it's not just the vehicles, but all the other aspects of Tesla's business. Remember, when you own shares in a company, you literally own shares of the entire company. So think of all the other aspects of Tesla, not just the vehicle sales, but the robotaxi, the energy, Tesla bot, Dojo as a service, on and on and on and on. The numbers get real ridiculous real fast. And this is a great place to wrap up today's video. In summary, Tesla blew away expectations, and there's going to be huge ramifications not only for Tesla's earnings results, but the Wall Street estimates and the price targets, and therefore for Tesla stock. Hopefully, you can read between the lines. And just for a little bit of fun, let me know in the comments below, what's your guess for the number of vehicles Tesla will deliver in the full year 2022? I'm Stephen Mark Ryan, this is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can get 2 free stocks with WeBull, a free stock with Stake, free Bitcoin with Coinbase, and free Bitcoin with BlockFi, and the BlockFi Bitcoin Rewards credit card. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel, and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.